Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the People Person podcast presented by Good Time Media. I am your host, Wyatt Metzger. Today, I welcome on a very special guest. He was a standout football player at my former high school, Garin Catholic, as well as Indiana University. He went from walk-on at IU to getting NFL looks and eventually playing professional football overseas. Mitchell Paige is here. Mitchell, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. How you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I was really excited when you asked me to come on, and I'm excited to get this going.
Now, I was talking to you a little bit before. I did watch some of your highlight tapes on YouTube before this. And
Don't recommend anyone else.
have you watched those? Do you watch those ever?
Sometimes they're funny. I was back home, and they're funny to pull up when you're back home hanging out with all your friends and
Oh,
comparing who was better.
I would flex all the time. I'd be like, dude, if I had highlight tapes of what I did in high school and college, I'm like, yeah, check this shit out. I was a stud.
Yeah, there's some good times on there for sure. A lot of good memories, a lot of good people.
Yeah.
But I'm been washed up.
I wouldn't say that. But there's a lot of different places I could start this. I didn't know where to start. I was like, I kind of want to start with you entering college because that's when you kind of left my world for a little bit. Because again, I was telling you in high school, when you were in high school, I was like, dang, this kid's unreal. And then you go away for a little bit. I'm like, okay, I kind of lose track of you. So you go from being this number one guy in high school, he's all-star, and then now all of a sudden you're a walk-on at IU. What's that mindset change from I'm the guy, I'm breaking records, making touchdowns all the time, and now I'm a walk-on at IU? Was there a mindset change? What was that transition like?
It was a big mindset change just because, you're going from being kind of the guy that everybody looks to when the moment's big, and now you're an afterthought. And I was the smallest person on the team day one, and probably still was on my last day as a senior, but it took a little humbling of not necessarily an ego, but just what I expected of myself. It required a lot more attention to detail, and being a walk-on, you don't get those chances that maybe some of the scholarship guys do. And you hear those stories all the time from walk-ons who, fought and fought and fought, but those stories are told for a reason. It's a hard battle to even stay 4 years, let alone get a scholarship. I was very lucky and had some really good people around me.
Yeah. How much harder was year two compared to year one? Because I feel like year one, you can correct me if I'm wrong. It's everything's new. This is cool. You kind of everything's fresh. Year two, I feel like, all right, you know what you're doing, but you're still that walk-on status. How much harder was that year?
So much harder, because you're exactly right. Everything was still so cool. The games were unbelievable. You go to these 110,000 seat stadiums and you kind of forget that you're not playing. Just going on the trip, flying on the plane, putting on the jersey is still so awesome. And then probably by spring ball of your second season, you're like, okay, it's time to, I'm here for a reason. And it's time to start playing. And remind me a little bit, what's your background? I know you went to DePaul to play, and then did you play all four, or what happened?
So I'm a senior now, so I got one more semester. So I'm on the back end of things. I heard your
podcast from the back of the car. You were jumping the gun a little bit on graduating, but congratulations making it this far.
A couple more classes, so hopefully we get there. Okay. I'm at the point. It's like D3. It's a little different. I mean, I say it's a glorified club sport, but I say that kind of tongue in cheek. But obviously, it takes a certain amount to get to this level. But I'm at the point where it's like, all right, I got to start thinking moving forward. I'm like, what's next? I'm not gonna be playing tennis professionally. I'm not taking that route. I can't. That's not an option for me. So you get to a point where it's like, I love it. I'm gonna enjoy the hell out of this last season. But once that's done, I'm like, all right, hang the rackets up for a little bit. So it's a little different mindset where I had to grind my ass off, but it's a little different, I think.
Yeah, I totally get it. And I actually had to make the transition a little bit later, but as you mentioned, I was with the Chargers for an hour, probably an hour too long. But you get cut and they send you home, and there's no guaranteed money or anything. So they send you home a little bit better off than you were when you got there, and then you got to figure it out. So it's the big bad world is scary, man.
Yeah. I'll let you know how it is in a year from now when I face it.
Like, I love it. Hopefully you keep doing this.
That's the plan. We'll see where it goes. We've been doing it for a while. We'll keep it going in some capacity. Just eventually you got to start putting some more money in the pocket, but it'll work itself out. Now we'll get to that, all the Charger stuff, all that stuff. I got some stuff with that, but I want to know, you get to your junior year, start to play more. I guess back up a little bit. Do you think your first 2 years, was it a thing of like, do you think you were ready to play and good enough to play your freshman year? I guess that's the question. Absolutely. So you needed to work. You needed those 2 years.
I had to gain 25 pounds, and I actually grew 2 inches.
Oh, wow. In college?
Yeah, I was a little kid. I had no business. It would have been dangerous for the coaches to put me out there. And they did eventually. In my second year, I got to catch a punt against Purdue, which is still the highlight of my life. Getting to play against Purdue was awesome.
Yeah.
But I called a fair catch, and the kid hit me anyways. I was just like knocked out. It was only for a second, but it was bad. It was dangerous. So yeah, I needed some work for sure.
When you're receiving punts, this is a question I've always wanted to ask to someone who's actually been in that situation. When you call fair catch, someone's right in front of you screaming at you. What are they saying? Are they like saying like, drop it, don't drop it, stuff like that? Or are you just like cussing you out?
Truthfully, in high school, I would have probably heard it a little more, but in college, the ball was so high and I was so scared to drop it. I didn't really listen to anybody. But sometimes they would touch you, and that would freak you out. They would just like jab at you, and I didn't like that. I remember that happened one time against Michigan State, and your boy dropped it pretty bad. Thank God it went out of bounds. But
I would say receiving punts or kickoffs seems like the hardest thing. Like for me in football, it's like that ball's up there, especially. I wonder, is it harder during a day game or a night game? I feel like in baseball, they say, what is it? One's easier than the other.
I think it's harder in the day.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, the ball kind of gets spotlighted a little bit with the big stadium lights. Yeah. And I was lucky I got to play in some pretty unique facilities. So the stadium lights helped me a little bit. I'm not sure I would have said that if you had asked me in high school.
Now there has been changes since you've left college. There's the new NIL rule. So I'm wondering, if you were around today, what would be your ideal sponsorship? Was there a company you did a lot with or would have loved to work with while you were in college?
So I'm supposed to say something that like gives back or helps.
No, you're not. You're not. There's no.
I'm supposed to say that, but I would have loved to work with EA Sports because I played FIFA. I was a FIFA player that also played football. That was my thing.
Really?
In college. That was it. That or I eat like a 5-year-old. So like Tyson, the Anytizers, I would have smashed those as well. But that's probably a bad look for like a little guy, right?
Yeah.
I can't be just chowing.
Yeah, I don't know what a good one would be though for a little guy. Like
something that's going to be not demeaning. I don't know.
Like a protein powder, like creatine or something.
Certainly not HGH.
Yeah, that'd be a bad look for the brand. It's interesting to think about because I feel like a lot of college athletes, like honestly looking back, like it's probably weird to think about. You probably lost some money because you weren't able to do that. Like especially your junior, senior year, starting to do more. Yeah. It's weird. I'm sure you don't think about it, but like, it's just weird to think a lot of former athletes, college athletes missed out on that opportunity.
I definitely think about it. I don't think I would have made a killing, but being kind of the hometown kid that was from just up the road, walk on, I think I had a good story that was easy to tell if you were a business and I wouldn't have cost very much. So I think I would have got some, and that would have been really cool to be able to partner with some brands, but I think it's good for the game in a lot of ways. but it's opened up a whole kind of Pandora's box, that and the transfer portal. I'm not envious of the coaches. I know that.
Yeah, it's going to get interesting here the next 5-10 years. See, some coaches are embracing it and some are like, nah, not in my book or whatever. Like, but it seems like the coaches who are embracing it are the ones who are going to benefit the most. I mean, you see Saban coming out day one. It's like, yeah, my quarterback's making $1 million. You're a 17-year-old kid in high school. You're the number one recruit. Like, I want to go make $1 million. So,
boy, that sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic to any teenager.
Yeah, you got to have some kind of separate league, because the Indianas of the world, not to bash my own school, but the Indianas of the world can't compete with Ohio State in that. Yeah. We have the third largest alumni base, but there's no chance we would be able to fund an NIL program like Ohio State or Clemson or Alabama. It's going to be interesting. It's not really college athletics anymore in a lot of ways. It's a professional amateur league, and that's what we're going to have to live with.
Yeah. And you were talking about, like, IU's kind of on the come up a little bit with Tom Allen. And so I know Tom Allen was defensive coordinator your senior year?
Yeah. And I played one game with him as head coach in the Foster Farm.
Oh, yeah. Sweet. So was there anything you saw from him early on where you're like, all right, this is the guy moving forward. This guy can do some stuff.
The way he talked to his players when he was D coordinator used to make me so mad, because they looked like they were having so much fun. And when something bad would happen, they weren't being, talked to that we were talked to. And it just, there was so much positivity, especially when you think back, any Indiana fans, think back to my early years, first 4 years, and we had a top 10 offense and we lost games 65-50.
Yeah.
We just gave up points like there was nobody on the field. And for him to come in and kind of change the perception of the players themselves, you could tell he was just a different kind of person. I think he would admit to you his first game as head coach, he was way overwhelmed, and we could feel it. It's a lot, right? Yeah. When a head coach gets fired and then boom, you're the head coach. Now you have 3 weeks to prepare for a game. That's overwhelming. And it showed in the game. We played a really good Utah team and had them beat, played really well, played kind of on some just energy and excitement, but didn't close it out. And there were some things that happened at the end of the game that just players and coaches alike didn't do what we were supposed to do. But when you look at somebody like that, I think just outside of football, I've taken a lot of things that I see him do and hear him say, and I've been fortunate to have a pretty good relationship with him kind of from the very beginning. That's just the way you want to act and the way you want to treat other people. It's a magnetic thing. It draws people, whether you're religious or not, it draws people either to God in the way that I think of it, or it draws people to just being positive, because positive energy is really just infectious. And being around positive people, I think, takes any person to a completely different level. And I've definitely been in the positive and negative ups and downs through college, and then after college, getting cut sucks, feeling like you're not good enough. And he's helped me a lot just watching him even from afar. He's a person that you want to be around. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, along those same lines, you did a lot, at least from what it seems from my perspective, within the community while you were at IU. And I know you talked a lot about before and other stuff, how you helped with local elementary schools. So my question to you is, that was probably 6-7 years ago when you were last doing that?
It has been, I guess. Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, sorry about that. Have you had any moments of maybe kids or even athletes you might have coached along the way reach out and be like, hey, I'm now doing this, this, and this? I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. Any moments like that?
Yeah. There's been some really cool things. I think the one I can say it the most about actually came from high school. I don't know if you remember the name Renee Kudo.
I'm good. Yeah. His daughter is a good friend of mine.
Exactly. So her younger brother, Alex, he's a baller. And I've known him since he was 4. and just kind of cultivating a relationship, mostly with Renee. You know, he played wide receiver at Louisville, won the Fiesta Bowl. So I was taking a lot from him while I was in high school. But then as we got through college, being able to just be somebody that Alex can talk to or be excited for him when good things are happening is a really powerful thing. And I hope to see that a lot more as we start to keep going. Unfortunately, I've lost touch with a lot of the elementary school kids, but I think it would be kind of weird if I was some elementary school kids as a 25-year-old. But hopefully something like that will happen. And I definitely plan on getting into coaching in some capacity. And I think that's where I'll really find a niche that I'll enjoy doing.
Do you think you want to coach high school level, college, or just work your way up, or what are you thinking?
I would love to be kind of a fringe high school coach. Okay. I don't want to deal with parents. I just want to deal with practice, talking about football. I don't want to recruit kids. That's what I think is the hardest thing, especially now with Instagram and Twitter and everybody thinking they're famous and awesome.
Yeah.
Like going in and telling an 18-year-old kid, we really need you to come.
Yeah.
We don't need you to come. Are you crazy? There are a million other people just like you. I do not need you to come to my school. So I think that would make me a really bad recruiter.
Yeah. Yeah. That's such a strange, like, just world. If you think about it from like, if someone's looking back who doesn't care about sports at all, and you look at like the recruiting process, like this is the weirdest thing ever. Like some kid's going to I'm going to go to some kid's house and tell him like, I really want you. And then the day he gets there, you like beat the shit out of him and make him run and yell at him and tell him he's worthless. It's like, what are we doing? Like, it's just a strange process to go through. And like, it's all bullshit. A lot of it's bullshit.
All of it.
Yeah.
All of it. And it only gets worse the farther along you get. Like, I didn't get recruited very heavily. But I had coaches we had a couple coaches come into Guerin that would come into the building, see how big I was, walk out. Like I had some pretty good stats. Wouldn't even talk to me.
You had all states, like you were setting state records, like your senior year.
I had some pretty good stats. And they wouldn't even, he's too little, which I was. Looking back on it now, like, I was too little when I went to saw what they had in Columbus. Yes, I wouldn't recruit me either. But it's just that no one has any idea. It's the same thing in like a job interview. You have no idea with this person. I'm not going to chase you down. If you want to work for us, great. If you want to come to our school, great. We're going to treat you like we treat everybody else. And if you turn out awesome, great. Yeah. We'll love you just the same.
Yeah. And then they love to pretend like they knew it from day one too. Expect like a coach. God. If a coach has a kid who just like becomes an all-star, he's like, yeah, I saw it. I saw it in his eyes day one. It's like, no, you didn't. You got lucky.
All these kids are idiots. As an 18-year-old, everyone's an idiot. I was as big an idiot as any of them. You got no clue what these kids are going to do, whether it's tennis, soccer, basketball, especially football. Like, I mean, there's 40 kids coming in every year at each team. I mean, it's a very funny. That's funny to think about. Just some random civilization coming, like, oh, this is weird. Recruit.
Yeah.
What the heck were they doing?
But I mean, like, I'm 22 and I'm an idiot. Like, if some coach sat me down, like, I'd spew him a bunch of bullshit, but like, I wouldn't be able to convince him I'm anything. And then you look at, I think basketball might be the worst. Basketball's up there where it's like you got kids like committing to high school. Like they drop like a mixtape or like, I'm taking my talents to this academy. It's like, dude, you're 14. Like,
is that true?
Yes, that's a real thing. People like, they'll put out like the commitment pictures on Instagram with like 5 different high schools or like prep academies and like cut my list down to 5. It's like, dude, do your homework. Like you're 14.
You didn't even have homework. Go play outside.
Yeah, like go ride a bike. I don't know what kids do anymore. Like do something. It's absurd. It starts so young, and it's a lot of the blame's on parents. I think everyone knows that, but at some point, huh?
As a parent, what are you supposed to do? These kids are on. I mean, you're a big TikTok guy.
Yeah, TikTok,
dude. Scrolling TikTok just like they were with Instagram or Vine or whatever else has been out there. Like people are seeing other people do really dumb stuff and get famous for it.
Yeah.
I was a young kid, I would try to do all the stupid stuff in the world, try to get 1 million followers and get paid a bunch of money.
Yeah, what do you think I'm doing right now? We're talking about me. I'm on that pipeline.
I was thinking it. I'm happy you said it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm chasing it. I'm chasing the. That's all I'm doing. But I mean, like, again, like you said, it's very enticing. That whole world, even professional athlete, being famous, being a celebrity, like it's enticing. Who wouldn't want it? But it's like you got to have the right head on your shoulders, and I hope to think that I do. So if we're talking about me here, I can hopefully avoid that. But
you seem to. But all it takes is 10 seconds or less. 10 seconds, one video. All I'm thinking about is that dude that was in COVID riding the skateboard with the
cranberry juice.
Yeah. And then he was on like Ellen.
Yeah.
He made a video and now he's on Ellen.
I guarantee you he made $20 to $30 million off that one video. Like in general. Yeah. It's unreal. The whole world we live in is absolutely insane. But yeah.
At least got some free cranberry juice out of it, man.
Yeah, seriously. I got like a lifetime supply. It was nuts.
I'm just not creative, like hardly at all. I can't, if there's no instructions, just nothing's going to happen. Like, it's just the pieces are just going to sit there.
Yeah, it's weird because like a lot of people say that, but then like I think about myself, like I don't think I'm that creative. It's just like I have the pieces. I just pretty much, this is my life, and I just talk about what I know. I don't try to branch out into areas like I'm not going to do. You're not on TikTok, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so there's like this whole category of TikToks, thirst traps, that are just people young, a lot younger than me, like 17, 18, 19 is like the prime age for it, and they just sync up audio, take their shirt off, and just flex in the mirror basically for 15 seconds, and they get like 4 million followers, and then they're set for life. I know my path. I know my zone. That's not me. I could never do that in a million years. No, not even a little bit. Maybe a 1 or 2 on a good day.
The question is, would you be in the thirst trap zone if you had a 6-pack?
No, because it's all mental for me. I could look like fucking Zac Efron and just be like, nah, I look like trash. It's all mental at that point.
It's a hard hurdle to get over because like 15 seconds is a long time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If we sat here and count to 15, that would be an eternity.
Yeah, it would be super uncomfortable.
You're just looking at yourself in the mirror doing that. Hey, credit to him. Credit to him.
Oh yeah, honestly, yeah, you got to respect it at some point. It's like I couldn't do that. I respect the people who like can go out in front of people and like film themselves. Everything I do either with my friends or me. I can't go out in public and be like, "What's up, guys? It's me." Like, no, that's not me. I can't do that. But props to them.
I suppose. I definitely couldn't do it. I barely even post anything. I wish that was funny or something. I would love to post stuff. I just got nothing to say.
I mean, you got to play professional football. Let's not get too greedy here.
That's true. That's true. I had my ride. I had my chance. Everything was right there. Only I would have went down on kickoff, man. I swear.
One question I wanted to ask you that I didn't get into about kickoffs, kick returns. I want you to rank these 3 kick returns on best to worst. All right, these are famous ones. You got the Devin Hester Super Bowl kick return, Deshaun Jackson game winner against the Giants, and then Antonio Brown Spartan kicking the punter.
So I feel like I have to say Antonio Brown's at the bottom just due to recent events.
That's recency bias, but okay.
Yeah. And it's so ridiculous. It's just preposterous that is the move that you're going to go with.
So crazy.
It's ridiculous. I've had the ball in my hands a lot of times. And that, I mean, never, ever would cross my mind.
Yeah.
So it just, I couldn't get over it. But I think it's at the bottom. It's a good one. It would be at top of the list most of the times.
Yeah.
But 1 and 2 are hard to beat. One, Devin Hester. So I was a big Miami Hurricanes fan growing up. So watching Devin Hester do that in the Super Bowl was unbelievable, even though that was against the Colts, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was hometown team. But truthfully, I didn't really watch the Colts growing up. So that's probably number one for me. He was a recent Miami Hurricane. I loved him. I was just kind of prime age to be super cocky about teams that I liked.
Yeah. That's the best age. That's the best age to be at.
Not that that's ever gone away. I still, if Indiana is winning a game in anything, I lose my mind. But I think that's got to be number one. But the Deshaun Jackson one, I think, is so unique because just putting myself in that position, when you drop the ball, the panic that comes over you is ridiculous. And for him to not just jump on it, I don't care how much time there was, but just your initial reaction to just jump on the ball, to overcome that, and then pick it up and run for a touchdown, run all around the field. That's like some superhuman. I don't even know how to. It's like, have you ever seen the Tavon Austin? I know you have the highlight tape from his college days.
Yeah.
That's those kinds of plays, right?
Yeah.
Like they're just not real life.
Yeah, I feel like you gotta be a certain type of person to like. I feel like most normal human beings would just jump on it at that point. But Deshaun Jackson, I feel like just watching him play even now, he thinks every time he touches the ball, like I'm scoring. Like there's no way I don't score. Which, like, again, you gotta respect the confidence where he's like, I'm gonna put the ball in the end zone some way, somehow, when everyone else's logical mind would be like, just jump on it. I think it was tied. So maybe. So like just go to overtime or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. You gotta be in the right mindset.
That was my thinking in high school for sure.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get
you were that way in high school. Don't yeah.
We played little school ball. Like
true.
Some of the schools that we were playing, come on. No offense to them, but like we gotta get after them a little bit. But then you get to college and these guys are so big and so fast. It's a crazy thing. Yeah. Crazy.
Now we move on from college. Right when you graduate, or I guess after your season's done, your senior year, are you thinking like NFL, let's try it. Let's see what happens. Or are you thinking like this maybe a backup plan? Are you like full force ahead NFL?
Yeah. We're as close as we'll ever be. Right. Yeah. And I've graduated school. I've got my degree. Why not give it a go? Right. And I had some good, I was all conference. I had some good success my last 2 years, and you never know. And I did really well on my pro day, truthfully. It was probably as well as I've ever done for any event. I just really, adrenaline or whatever it was, did really well and impressed some scouts. So got a chance. First camp was with the Chargers and signed me right on. So it was awesome. It was a great couple months. That was probably 10 total months of my life, but man, what a ride.
Now, I saw somewhere, I forget where it was before this, it said there was only a $50 signing bonus. Was that true?
Oh, I wish. That would have been nice.
You got nothing?
We got nothing.
Nothing. The Chargers pay you anything?
Yeah. So once I got there, I got $1,500 a week or something, and I signed the rookie minimum deal. So it was like 3 years, 1.8 million or something. But like I said, no guaranteed money. Yeah. So I was only getting what they were paying me. But the reason that I didn't really have any leveraging power is I was an undrafted rookie, obviously, and had to go to minicamp. I wasn't even an undrafted free agent after the draft. Mm-hmm. So I went to minicamp and they signed me. But if I say no, they're like, okay, well, we'll get someone else.
Yeah.
They weren't trying to persuade me to go there over somewhere else. I think that was kind of my option, and they knew it, and that's their business. So unfortunate for me, but I wouldn't have traded it. Like 10 grand is what the other guys got. I think every single other undrafted guy got $10,000 as their signing bonus.
Yeah.
It would have been great at the time, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not life-changing money. Yeah. And I got the same experience they got. So could be worse. And I got the kind of walk-on mindset again.
Yeah. Another chip on your shoulder.
Yeah. Bottom of the barrel again.
Now, even though it was just like training camp, mini camp, was there a welcome to the NFL moment? We're like, oh shit, these are big boys.
Yeah. So there was no hitting in OTAs in training camp, which is great. I would say just personal welcome to the big leagues. We played the 49ers in the second preseason game, and I thought I had a bunch of space, bunch of room, catch the ball like 10 yards over the middle, and I go to turn up field, and some linebacker came out of nowhere and cracked 2 of my ribs, like before I even could breathe. So that was tough. But I would say the craziest moment that was like, wow, this is really the NFL, is 2 things. One, when I got there, Melvin Ingram had just signed his 4-year, $200 million or $150 million deal. And he bought a Rolls-Royce Wraith and drove it to practice. I mean, that's a fake life car. Melvin Gordon driving Audi R8, and he's 6'4". Like, people don't know that.
He's 6'4"?
He's at least 6'3.5", 6. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
He just did not fit in this car. It was very, very funny. That was, I think, my first day I saw him step out of this blacked out Audi R8. I mean, top of the line, and he barely fits in there. As I'm riding up on my bicycle, parking it right next to it.
You got your Razor scooter pulling up the minicamp.
Yeah, absolutely. If I would have had a scooter, I would have rode it every day. Fortunately, one of the guys gave me a bike, so I wasn't walking.
Jeez. Now, you said obviously you end up getting cut there. Did you? Yeah. What was? Sorry, sorry about that.
The letter I got for when I got cut is the funniest thing ever.
Were you expecting it?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, I had Keenan Allen, Tyrell Williams, Travis Benjamin, Mike Williams. All these guys were in front of me. Like, well, who? I mean, I would question the ownership if I had made the team over those guys. Truthfully, like, what am I going to do? So, yeah, I lived it up and knew it was coming. And when it came, it was no big deal. But I'm assuming you're going to ask what did I do after?
Yeah, I want to know about the letter now. So funny.
The letter had like 4 check boxes, and one was like medically unable to play. It was like mentally unready to play or whatever it was, all the check boxes. But the last one was basically does not meet the physical standards of the NFL. It was a check with like a circle around it. Oh, it was a knife. And I didn't get this letter until 2 months after they cut me. Like it got lost in the mail or something. So it's just a little reminder like, hey, you're cut.
Yeah, by the way, just in case you forgot.
It's still hung up on my dad's fridge. He thinks it's the funniest thing ever.
That's hilarious.
Thanks a lot, Dad.
Thanks. You go home for Christmas, you just see that reminder.
Yeah, it makes me laugh every time.
That's funny. So yeah, now what's next after that? You get cut. You're like, all right, how do you keep pursuing this?
Yeah, so I hung around and was staying in shape. I had worked out for the Patriots right before training camp, and that's actually where I thought I was going to go. Did well in San Diego and got signed before I had a chance to go to their mini camp. So I was expecting when I got cut to at least get a call and a workout. Nothing ever came.
Wow.
So eventually I took an internship at financial, it's called Vallejo in Indianapolis, financial advisor internship, and enjoyed it, but got a random text from a team in Germany, literally a Facebook message from a team in Germany, and said, hey, we're looking for guys. And I didn't really know anything about the league or about European football at all. But essentially they offered me and one of my best friends who played quarterback and trained with us through the pro day stuff. They said, hey, yeah, you guys can come over and you play wide receiver and you play quarterback.
That's the dream. There you go.
So we went over there, lived together for 8 months. He threw me the ball a lot. We won a lot of games, went to a bunch of different countries. It was unbelievable. I think that's one of the best experiences that I could have had. We made nothing. I think I may have came out in the green after our travels. Maybe.
But I mean, that's an experience in and of itself. Just like getting to travel in your 20s, like everyone wants to do that. At least you're playing football while you do it. So it's like two birds, one stone.
And it was so strange. We got, in Europe, I guess it's a big thing. Like you get a month holiday in the middle of summer. So we had half of our season and then just got a month off. And then the last half of our season where we didn't have any practices or anything. So me and my buddy, I think I had 2 shirts and 2 shorts and put it in our backpack and just got on a plane, staying in hostels. We were gone for 30 straight days, went to Rome, Greece, up into like Norway, Denmark. It was unbelievable.
That's so sweet. That's just like a cool experience no matter what. Yeah.
So good.
Now, how does the competition level compare to, let's say, college, Big Ten football?
Not the same.
Not there? Not there yet?
I would probably say it's like really good high school football or middle of the road D3.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Because I've seen a lot of D3 football. I know a lot of D3 football players. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to say anything against them, but that surprises me.
Yeah, there's good players over there. Yeah. I think the problem is depth.
Yeah.
Where like the team that I played on would have had a really hard time stopping the top guys.
Mm-hmm. But
where our German team would have really struggled is playing a D3 team for 4 quarters. Like we could have scored, I believe we could have scored on any D3 team in the country. Probably for the first half.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 quarters. But we would have had a really hard time stopping them on defense just because we didn't have, 1, the D lineman, and 2, the depth. The depth really drops off. And the rules, I think, hurt them a little bit as well in terms of level of play. You were only allowed to have 2 Americans on the field. So it's made up of European guys. Yeah. We had, I think, 16 imports. So a lot of guys are not from Germany, but there's a lot of guys that are. And that brings their level up for sure. But the overall quality definitely takes a little bit of a hit when you're not just bringing over a bunch of Americans.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, yeah. So were you guys the 2 Americans on the team?
So there's 4 total Americans, 2 guys on defense, 2 on offense.
Gotcha.
And then on the special teams, we'd split off. Like I returned kicks and punts, and the defensive guys ran down on kicks and covered punts.
That makes sense. Now, you played there how long?
Just 1 season.
Just 1 season, and then
unfortunately, I probably should have. Yeah. I probably should have played another. But it's a long time to be away from home.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And the German culture where I was is a little bit different. If you've been to Munich or like Cologne, there's places in West Germany that are awesome and I love. But the place that I was, Dresden, there was still some, I don't know, you could feel kind of some remnants of like Soviet control a little bit there. It was strange. Yeah. It just didn't have, I'm a pretty upbeat kind of positive guy. I talk your ear off. And there's still, and I think it's more of a German cultural thing, kind of totally encompassing. They're a little more gruff.
Yeah.
And it didn't vibe as well as I would have hoped.
Yeah. So then you take a couple of years off, and then you played another season, correct? Like what, last year?
Yeah. So that's a little different story. I went to Germany with the intention of blowing the league away. I was a little upset that I had gotten cut and not talked to again. So I went over there with a real purpose, and football was like, I didn't care who was in front of us. We were going to have 1,000,000 yards, and that was going to be it. And then I was done, and I was doing medical sales in Indianapolis. So I was selling orthopedic, hips, knees, joints, liking it a lot. But then I met the girl that's sitting over there, Laura. And
hi, Laura.
I think she closed the door. She's tired of listening to me talk. But we get another random message, and this is kind of funny. Hey, there's Laura. So So this is going to go back to some of the other podcasts that I saw you did about The Bachelor or Bachelorette, because
are you talking about Andrew Spencer?
Sure am.
Yes. Okay, go.
Sure am.
So next question.
Sure am. So the only reason I got to go to Vienna is because Andrew was already in Vienna, gearing up for the season, and he said, "Coach, I'm going to The Bachelorette." And he's like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" And then they were scrambling, and I was fat and washed up. Like, if they had time, there's no way they would have contacted me.
Yeah.
And I went over there. I was not good. I was bad. I was serviceable, but I was nowhere near what I was. And I knew that. They knew that. I didn't feel bad for them. That's not my fault. But
yeah,
I was planning on just being there kind of for 3 or 4 years. That was the intention. I only agreed to it. Like, yeah, I know my football is going to be okay, but if I could just somehow coach or help with the program, but then find another job and live in Vienna, that would be ideal. And when the season ended, unfortunately, it didn't go that way. We had some visa issues and had to come back. But yeah, Andrew Spencer, only reason that I was allowed to go to Vienna.
That's so crazy to me. Yeah, I'm very invested in like within the Bachelorette world. So that story right there is blowing me away that you got his spot, basically. That's
we watched I'm not a big Bachelorette guy, and it came on at 4 a.m. in Vienna.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was in Vienna for all the episodes. So like we watched the first one where he shows up with the British accent.
Yeah. Yep.
I think he dominated the first show, truthfully.
Dude, he killed it all season.
He was
my favorite by far.
It was so weird to watch him and be right next to him. And he's like, wait, watch this part.
Yeah.
But they never saw any of the show.
Yeah.
They didn't know. They were as surprised as anyone when all this was coming out. They knew what would happen. But
though. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't know how it's going to be portrayed. They're just locked in a hotel room. He said he was in the hotel doing nothing for the longest. And the way that he would watch that show, and I mean, it was like it totally took over everything for him. Like when something bad would happen, I don't even know what bad stuff was happening, but it would like ruin.
Yeah.
Like his Twitter would blow up. His Instagram would blow up. And I remember he came to Vienna before The Bachelorette. Speaking of Instagram, before The Bachelorette, he was in Vienna. He had like 3,000 followers or something. And I think now he's got like 280,000.
Yep. I guarantee you he does. So here's the thing with him is I've tried to get him on the podcast, and he's replied to me. He said like, yeah, I'll see if I can clear it. Haven't heard back. So I'm going to ask you.
They have so many things.
So many, dude.
That they have to follow.
ABC hates me too. ABC's not a fan of me because, well, I've had people from the show on the podcast a bunch. And then like when they say something bad about ABC, they're not going to let other people come on the show. They're not going to give them the clearance. And they've had people like take stuff down from Instagram or like take down Instagram stories. So I'm not expecting him to be able to come on anytime soon, but I saw you guys were on the same team and I was like, I wonder what the connection is there. So I saw you guys followed each other. I was like, that's so crazy.
Yeah. He's an awesome dude. I think I spent 3 or 4 months with him there. Awesome. Couldn't be the kind of blow up that he's experiencing and hopefully sustains.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't happen to a nicer, more genuine person. It sounds like I didn't get to know the girl from his season, but I'm happy that didn't work out with her.
Oh, hey, be careful. Be careful. Katie is a good friend of mine. She's a friend of the program. Be careful what you say.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm just saying it didn't sound like that should have been the end. Yeah,
it wasn't a good match. You can say that. Wasn't a good match.
That's what I meant.
There you go.
Just from what I understand. I'm not going to, I literally watched one episode and it was all about the guys and the guy in the box and the guy in the cat suit. Yeah. That's the only thing that I know is those two things. I don't know anything about her, but I know Andrew's in a really good place.
That's good. Yeah, I know he's killing it. And he came across. Yeah, he came across like very genuine. Like I figured that's how he was in real life too. He seems like a good guy. So it's good to
And that whole
confirm
thing
that.
about his grandma is 100% like real and authentic.
Yeah. He always
Like,
posts about her. It's hilarious.
yeah, he cares about his grandma more than I could care about anyone in my life. And I feel like I'm a pretty caring person.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Like he's her biggest hype man, and I don't think that's really changed, at least from what I understand,
Yeah.
since all that's happened. But
Yeah.
I know he's hanging out with all those dudes, and they've kind of formed a pretty cool little partnership.
Yeah. I like those guys, all those guys, Justin, Greg, and yeah. So if you
Yeah.
can put in a good word, get Andrew on the podcast because I'm
Yeah, man,
trying.
put us in a group message.
I might have to. The last football question. I want an official stance. Are you retired?
Yeah, I was retired before I went to Vienna.
So you're retired. There's no chance you play professional football again.
No, and I know that I will never play again. Probably not even flag, because the first game I caught some pass and went to turn up field, and instead of like stepping to contact, I was kind of don't touch me. And
Yeah.
as soon as you have changed that mindset to where you're no longer playing with reckless abandon, that's when bad things happen. And I felt that in the first game, and it didn't change. And that's when you know it's time to hang it up. And I was fortunate I never had really any major injuries, or at least diagnosed ones, and
Yeah.
I can live with that.
It's good. I mean, obviously you've done enough. You've lived 1,000 lives in football. It feels like. So I'm sure it's hard to step away, but it is what it is.
Now I got golf.
Yeah, there you
All
go.
I think about is golf. I got my golf mat right here. If anybody's in South Carolina that's listening wants to play golf, I'm looking for partners. That's all I think about, talk about, breathe. So
Hell yeah. So yeah. So what are you up to now? What do you do for work? How's life treating you besides golf?
yeah, just moved to Charleston, South Carolina. Actually recently got engaged to Laura.
Congratulations, both of you.
Thank you.
A couple days ago?
A couple days ago.
Hell yeah. Congrats. Hell yeah.
28th?
You should know that.
Yeah, 28th. Couple days after Christmas. You remember like Sammy Adams and Howard? Yeah. So those are still my best friends, and got to do it with all of them there. It was a really cool night.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for the future with her and the future down here. Just also started some commercial real estate. I've transitioned a little bit in my career, doing something a little different, but really liking it, really enjoying it, and there's hopefully some good monetary potential and make some things happen.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. I mean, obviously, you've done enough in football now. It's like you got. I feel like the doors are open. You can do whatever you want. You can go wherever you want, which I feel like it's got to be exciting for a little bit.
Oh yeah, it's and you'll feel this too. It took a while. I think any athlete goes through this when you've got something that's kind of your identity, right?
Yeah.
You've got this, which has probably will help a lot with this, but football was me, and I was football for a really long time. And when it's gone, now who are you? And there was a little bit of a battle with that, and I think I'm through that, and I'm really excited and positive about things going forward, whatever that is. Hopefully it's exactly what I'm doing and I'm on the right path, but if it's not, I feel confident there can be a pivot, and I'm just in a good place.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. Well, last question I have for you then. I asked everyone who comes to the podcast, if you listen to the last episode, you know what's coming, but what gets you up in the morning?
I did. I knew it was coming, and I've been thinking about it all day.
Oh, this better be good now. You shouldn't have said that. Now people are going to expect greatness from this answer.
Yeah. I already have talked about how I'm a lot smarter, or I was a lot smarter as a middle schooler than I am now. So that's probably why it took me all day. But I think there's a twofold thing to this. Because I mentioned getting back into coaching, and I want to be able to take everything that I've learned through football and kind of learning how to create an identity outside of football. And I want to be able to share that with other people. And I've started to do that a little bit. I've been fortunate to have some old coaches refer younger players to me and be able to help a little bit in that way. I'm hopefully going to be coaching some here in the next couple months, not in a like full-time capacity or anything, but I think that'll be something that gets me up in the morning eventually, is how can I be my best, even if it's just as a visual example for somebody else that's maybe going through the same things that I was going through. But then also I'd have to say Laura, and making sure that we're going to be okay, because we're both starting new jobs and trying to get everything settled with a new city and new friends and new everything. We're just getting ourselves settled and confident in our relationship with each other. I'm born Catholic and I got away from it a little bit, but I'm doing my best to come back. I've started going to church a lot more often and doing a lot more thinking. So I think that is something that will add to Laura and I's relationship. And it's becoming something that's even more, always more important. And it's just making us better. So I think those two things, being able to give back and then being with Laura and being the best we can be in our relationship and our relationship with the church and with God and with the city, is the things that I want most importantly.
That's amazing, man. That's really cool. And I appreciate you taking the time. It was really cool to hear all the parts of the story I don't know. Cause obviously, like I said, like when I was little, you were the man. You were the guy, like, all right, this guy's got it going on. So this is like a surreal moment for me to actually kind of catch up. And I appreciate you doing it. I appreciate taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, dream girl, dreaming, I be dreaming. Missing all the days you got me feeling. I said I love you, baby, know I mean it. Hey, yeah, dream girl, I be dreaming.